Hello friends, my name is Emile and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Today we're continuing on with our Let's Play. This is episode 8, and in today's episode we're finally going to go racing, finally going to buy a car and stuff, and yay. So yeah, the first race, as always in these Gran Turismo games, is of course the Sunday Cup. Exciting technical course layouts. If you're just starting out, try polishing your skills here. So yay. For that, of course, we'd actually need a car, and, well, our first car, what should we buy? That is the question. Now, you only get 18 grand to start off with in GT3. You may notice I now have 10 million. That's because I Let's Played GT Concept a while ago. I've explained this before. Basically, I'm using the 10 million credit bonus that gives you. However, I'm not going to be using that money at the start of the game as an unfair advantage. It's basically padding, and it's there so that I can use interesting cars as the game goes on. So, by that logic, I'm only going to spend the 18 grand the game gives you. At the start of the game, it only gives you 18 grand. And 18 grand is enough to buy you about 3 cars. You can get some Daihatsus, you can get an MX-5, some of the Suzukis, and I think you can buy an A86. That's about it. So, I'm going to be controversial. And I'm going to go for the alternative choice, which, ironically, is a Chrysler PT Cruiser. Now, I can already tell my comments are going mad, but there is method to my madness. The PT Cruiser is actually one of the better starting cars, statistic-wise. It has one of the better power-to-weight ratios, it has a lot of power, which is useful for Super Speedway. So, we'll go for a nice bit of a cranberry colour, I think, 17980. There we go, our first car, and it's a Chrysler PT Cruiser. Oh boy, we now have 20 credits. I'm not buying the Vitz because we get the Vitz later on as a prize car, so there would be literally no point. I'm not buying a Vitz, it'd be pointless because we get one as a prize car anyway. Anyways, as you can see, Super Speedway, Midfield, Raceway, and Trial Mountain are our circuits to go to, and Super Speedway is going to be the first... Nope, not that. I'll cut this out. Okay, anyways, we're finally on the grid. I clicked the correct button this time, so we're up against a Civic, a CRX, a Yaris, another Yaris, and a new Beetle, so this should be fun. Also, traction control's on because apparently you need to turn it off on a car-by-car basis. I thought you could just turn it off in the options menu, like you could in GT Concept, but apparently you can't, so that's nice. So we have to deal with traction control for this first race, although admittedly why you'd need traction control on a PT Cruiser, I don't know. Anyways, as you can see, there's all the mighty Yarises, the couple of Hondas. Could have got a Del Sol. Yeah, but the Del Sol doesn't really have the power. Or any Honda with VTEC. The Hondas are more expensive than you'd think. I believe that model Civic is actually like 19 grand. So you actually couldn't buy the Civic, so... Yeah, also the Vitz would have been stupidly underpowered. Here's the thing with the PT Cruiser again, as I said, it does have straight line speed, believe it or not. You know it's a bad sort of scenario when I'm telling you that the... Yeah, I know it doesn't look very nice, it's a PT loser. I mean, come on, it is the PT loser, but at the same time, I mean... You know, I need a car, this is a car. Surprisingly popular in Japan, actually. At least it's not diesel, I guess that's something. I've got a mighty 150 horsepower here. Although we do weigh quite a lot, so that's something to bear in mind, but, you know, also I'm kind of just going to switch between the views during this. For the license tests I stayed on hood view only, sorry, bumper cam, but sort of for the purposes of this I'm just going to switch sort of between all of the views, because, you know, you might want to see the car, you probably don't in this case. I hope Matt Hardy comes and deletes the PT Cruiser. I mean, I don't think Matt Hardy would spend his time deleting PT Cruisers, but glad to see us all arguing and bitching to each other again, that's fun. Yes, after a sustained absence, that's the best thing to do. Anyways, 1.5 seconds in front of the Civic, so, you know, you don't need VTEC when you've got the mighty PT loser. In a fantastic cranberry colour. I actually kind of like this colour, I'm not going to lie. I don't like the car, I do like the colour. Also, I would like to inform you all that do not worry, this, in theory, should be the only time you see the PT Cruiser. You won't see the PT Cruiser again after this. So, yeah, bear that in mind. Also, understeer, 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 understeer. My god, this thing really gets its knee in, doesn't it? Right. And across the line, 51.558 seconds. That was a long race, that one was. The PT see, look, the Yaris's didn't do particularly well, did they? The Euro edition. I don't know what the Euro edition gets you, but you know, I'm sure it's exciting. Anyways, there we go. Anyways, we're done with that. That's first race over and done with. We got 1,000 credits, so that was nice. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee as we head on to Midfield Raceway next. There we go. Hit the correct button this time. Okay, here we are on the grid of the second race, and the grid has slightly changed a bit. We've got the Civic, the CRX, and the Yaris from the previous race. However, we now have a Demio, and we have lost one of the Yarises, which I think you'll agree is a grave shame. Also, I've turned traction control off. You have terribleness tomorrow. Oh, why? What's happening? Also, Beetle! Was the Beetle in the other race? Yeah, it was. Still, look how hideous that thing is. I'm not sure what's uglier between the PT Cruiser and the Beetle. I actually think it might be the Beetle. Oh yeah, you have a Welsh assignment. Oh god. I've been to Wales. They never spoke Welsh once when I was there. Anyways, as we try and cut up the inside of a purple CRX, Del Sol, not a real CRX. Is the real CRX in this game? I'm not sure. I think it's just Del Sols. Well, there could be a CRX in this. I don't really know. Anyways, as we're about to pass the EG, I think that's an EG. I'm not sure. I know my Civic generations relatively well, although not that generation, because we should start our own wrestling promotion. That sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. Loser is uglier? Maybe. Oh god, okay, we have understeer. Yeah. Obviously going into this I knew the PT Cruiser wouldn't be the best handling. How many gears we got? We got 5 speed at least. That's something. At least. I guess. Oh god, right, brakes. Understeer. Off. No. We're not on the rally courses yet. PT Cruiser, stop doing this. Right, thank you. Lovely. Alright, so we've got the black Civic eyeing his way up all of the paths he could take around the PT Cruiser. You can't overtake a PT Cruiser, sir. That would be... that's a Ludo Gen Civic. Yes, it is, well, former Ludo Gen Civic, because of course Ludo's Civic passed away, so... Yeah. We've put 10 miles on... We've put 11 miles on the PT Cruiser, lads. This is... Whoa. 11 miles in, and I think it's... I was looking at the setup screen, and it's already lost 3 horsepower, so... That's something nice. So... Yeah. That Chrysler build quality. Oh, legendary. Legendary. I mean, I will say... The SRT4 PT Cruiser's kind of cool, the one with the turbocharger. That's something. This one isn't that one, though. This is... I believe this would be what us Brits would call the 2.4 Limited. I'm not sure. It's probably got the automatic. I don't think manual PT Cruisers were particularly popular anywhere. I'm assuming there were manual PT Cruisers. I'm not really that sure, to be honest with you. The cars do have a nice description in this game, so I could probably find it out if I wanted to. I'll actually, to be fair, I did forget to show that for the PT Cruiser. I might show some of the car stats, because it's actually kind of interesting. It shows you sort of what aspiration the cars are, what sort of engine they're running down to, you know, camshafts and so on. So that's pretty neato. Emile's PT Cruiser delete. I mean, should we make that like the final episode of GT3? Do we have to deal with him? The final episode of GT3 is just gonna be a case of 101 ways to like kill my PT Cruiser and then finally selling it. But I can't sell my PT Cruiser. It was my first car that I bought in this game. It doesn't look that bad when you sort of some ideas. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe. Anyways, that's another race. That's the best way I can describe these. Just chat will die then, yeah. Anyways, another 1,000 credits. Oh boy, that was an exciting looking lineup. Anyways, that's the midfield raceway done. Time to head over to our final race now, which takes place at Trial Mountain. Anyways, this final race features a Civic. The two Yaris's are back, however this time we've gained a Suzuki Alto Works. Woohoo! But we're up in the big leagues now. We really are, aren't we? Yeah. Anyways. Right, let us see what we can do with that mighty Alto Works. I mean, we could have had that as our first car, but as you can see, 63 horsepower in that. It has got four-wheel drive, which I don't think any of the other starter cars do, other than Daihatsu Storia. I'm not actually, the Storia might not actually be that bad an idea, because you could actually, in theory, put some upgrades into the Storia. But no, I can't. Is that a Spoon Integra in the background of the race selection screen? I was just remarking on it before you got to the stream. Before I started recording, I think it's some form of like race modded Integra. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks pretty cool. It's certainly not in the game, I can tell you that much. I don't think any Spoon vehicles made it into GT3. To be fair, I'm not even sure if there's an Integra in the game. I would just... Oh, there's an RSX, obviously, but I'm not sure if that model... 63 horsepower indeed. Yep. You can sort of see it trailing at the back there. Anyways, I would like to point out the fact that in the time trial episode, I think, what did they say for this track? 1:49 was the benchmark time for this track in a MB Miata, so we'll have to see how close we can get to that in the PT Cruiser. I'd kick your ass, probably. Also, not my ass, by the way, for the people who's watching without seeing the chat. There we go, a bit of brakes. Also, I do apologise, I can't change the speedometer into miles per hour because this was before GT4. In GT4 they actually gave you the ability to change the speedometer. In this game, not so much. Yeah, it's kilometers an hour or nothing, so that's fun. We're not starting a wrestling promotion, I can assure you. I would probably end up ripping my hair out, which I don't particularly really want to do at this point. 2 minutes 9 seconds. Oh boy. Civic's keeping us hot on our heels though, 2 seconds behind. Alright. This thing is so slow. In case you're curious about kilometers an hour, 160 kilometers an hour is roughly 100 miles per hour, so yeah. I don't think we've gone much over 100 at any point during this video. Don't worry, that will change. We will get onto more exciting, more interesting cars. Also, look at that, 20 miles on the PT Cruiser now. Whoa. Oh, understeer. Oh, the understeer is always mighty amounts of fun. That's a terrible name for a promotion because it's probably already been used. How much speed can we get on this back straight? I mean, when it's going downhill, it gains speed. It does lose speed going up the hill. I mean, look at that. That's over 100 there. Almost touching 110 miles per hour there. There's tyre smoke coming from the PT Cruiser. Look at that. Look at that. Almost drifting. Drifting a PT Cruiser. It is possible, probably. That speedo is incredibly optimistic. It really is. Alright. There we go. Come around here. Lovely jubbly as we leave the Civic in the dust. I think that Civic's been exactly the same distance behind me this entire time as we understeer off in the PT Cruiser. Waggled. Alright, coming around the final corners now. Go up on the hill. Getting it on 2 wheels. That's exciting. Probably the most exciting thing that's happened in this entire episode as we're across the line at 154.54. So the PT Cruiser's 5 seconds slower than an NB Miata. Also, the Alto Works would never have finished that race. Anyways, one other 1,000 credits. Bringing us up to a mighty 10.3. And we're about to find out what our prize car is. And for winning that race, we get a car which arguably isn't much better than our PT Cruiser. It's an A86, which I don't care for. So, yay. Anyways. That's it for the Sunday Cup. That's 3 gold cups. That's that particular part done. Let's just head over to the garage and take a look at... yep, it's a Sprint Truno, 127 horsepower. Yeah, there you go. Also, the cars rotate ridiculously slow on this game, so that's something to note. But yeah, anyways, there's the mighty PT Cruiser. Let's just have a look at this. Look, it's got a dual overhead cam. Whoa. So yeah, anyways, that is it for this first episode of my Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. First episode? 8th episode of the Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec Let's Play. I'm getting confused because the last few were just pre-recorded license stuff. So yeah, anyways, thank you all very much for watching, friends. Mine has been the Real Emile. Next time we'll be taking a look at whatever the next race is, so join me for that. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.